Hello and hi everyone and all. Today's video is going to be a little bit of forecast and some part of it is going to share with you my system or the strategy that I use to trade on gold. First of all, let me tell you that I had a decent little profitable trade here, which gave me about 30 pips in profit. I missed actually almost 50% of the profits just because I was away. And I had a feeling after this massive upward move, even though it was on the 5 minute chart, that the price might actually break out of this blue trend line, which I shall talk about later, and it might continue upwards, but that did not happen. And that is what Forex trading is all about. I am happy with the profits that I have been able to grab, which, as I said, about 30 pips in profit. Nice and easy. Okay, right now the price is coming down sharply after testing almost about, yes, 41.80. And it seems that it is going to come down all the way, maybe up to this blue line, or maybe this red trend line, which means right up to maybe 41.20 or round about that area. Anyway, at this stage, the way the price is coming down, you do not want to, you do not want to try and catch a falling knife, as they say, because it can be risky. You do not want to enter here for a sell, or a buy. A buy would be, that would be even more dangerous at this stage, because the price is coming down very sharply. Even though we are on the 5 minute chart, if you have a look at this fall from here, of the price, even on the 1 minute chart or on the 4 hourly chart, you will see that this is a massive move downwards, and it is safe to stay out of the market right now. Because, to be honest, even though I said at the start of this video that this is going to be a forecast video as well, let me tell you that right now we are almost in no man's land, really, to be honest, because the price has broken below this red trend line on the 5 minute chart, yes, and right now the price is within the cloud, yes. So at this stage you cannot say anything with certainty whether the price is going to go up from this point or whether the price is going to continue downwards. What that means is, in such situations, you better stay out of the market. That is exactly what I am doing right now, because what happens is, once you have missed an easier trade, comparatively an easier trade, or once you have missed out on the profits as well, which were in your pocket, so to say, at one stage, and the price moves against you, you tend to get sort of angry, and you want to do emotional trading as well. But that is where discipline comes into play. If you are a disciplined trader, you know when not to trade. And as just the way a wise trader once said, when you are not trading, you're actually trading even at that time. Because when you are looking at the charts and you are not trading, that does not mean you are not trading. It means you are actually practicing your precious discipline that can protect you against bad trading, that can protect you against losses as well. That is exactly what I'm doing right now. I am not trading, but I am trading right now. Okay. And what that means is, I am staying out of the market, but I'm keeping an eye on the market, and let's see what happens. Now, I want to talk about this blue line as well, and I want to go to the higher time frames as well to see if I can see something much more clearly in terms of the forecast. Right now, just the way you can see that the price is sort of within, between these two lines, this blue line and this red line. And one might expect that the price might keep coming down all the way, maybe up to this red line. Who knows? Or the price might actually, let me get this thing out of the way first. The price actually might come down to this blue line, this trend line, which also coincides with the upper line of the cloud as well, and then turning it into a support. The price might continue upwards. Anything can happen, which means you better stay out of this scenario of this market right now. Just the way I said, the price is in no man's land right now, and you do not want to make any risky trades where you do not really know what's going to happen next. you better, you better stay out of it. Maybe do something else. Maybe completely move away from the charts. Or just the way I am recording this video right now, I'm not trading in the sense that I'm not placing any trades right now, but I thought, why not share some of my experiences with you people, and you might be able to benefit from them. Anyway, right now, as a part of my forecast, I would say if the price does go back up to this blue line, I would start looking for sell positions really, because the price has already got a sharp reversal from this blue line, which means almost around 4180. Okay, or if the price keeps coming down and does come down to all the way down to this red trend line, I might start looking for buy opportunities, because the price has been sort of respecting this almost this red trend line quite brilliantly. See, the price came down to this red trend line. If we start from here, it went up slightly. It was not a good buy trade, of course. It came down and then it went up. It came down, but then it went up quite decently. And this could have been, if you had entered here, this could have been a very decent entry, a buy entry. I entered here, by the way. I just removed that little window that shows you the profits that I earned. I entered here, somewhere here, once the price had cleared this blue trend line. I'm going to zoom out in a little while, and I'll show you why I drew this blue line and this one as well. It will make much more sense to you then. Once the price had cleared this blue line, I entered here, and this is a part of my system that when the price breaks out of a trend line, I enter in the direction of the breakout much more confidently. Okay, I entered here and the price kept moving in, my predicted direction quite beautifully, and it gave me about 30 pips in profit. And on the other hand, just the way we can see right now at the live chart, the current price, it is approaching this upper line of the cloud. And just the way I said, it might get rejected from here, because that is how the system works. This is why I use the Ichimoku Cloud. It works beautifully, really. These two moving averages of the cloud, which are a part of the indicator, and then the two lines of the cloud, both of them, they can work as support and resistance areas depending on the situation. And once the price breaks out of the cloud, more often than not, that is a genuine breakout. Mostly it did not happen that way here, but it happened here. If you can see, the price broke out of the slim cloud. When the cloud is slimmer, the greater are the chances for the price to break out of that cloud. That is one way of benefiting from this cloud system, this cloud indicator. Anyway, I want to zoom out now to the 1 hourly, and I want to share with you something bigger, something even more powerful as a part of the system that I use. Now, look at this. I want you to have a look at this blue line. Actually, I want you to have a look at this blue line first, this one. Reference point number 1, reference point number 2. Once you have created such reference points, you can extend that trend line and see the magic that these trend lines, they create on these charts. And I am amazed at the power, the mystical and mysterious power of these trend lines, because the way the price respects these trend lines, that is really, really incredible. Look at this one. For example, the price came back to this trend line, let's say the first time after these two reference points. The first time the price did not it did not respect the trend line. It broke out of it. If we consider this whole move one major move, this was a breakout. And then look at the way the price respected this trend line and sort of jumped off it right up to this green trend line. This green trend line, let me see. Okay, we cannot talk about this green trend line because there are only two reference points so far on this green trend line. This green trend line will come into play only when something like this happens. Something like this. Only then we shall see how the price behaves in terms of this green trend line. Okay, at the moment we do not have to consider that green trend line. Anyway, coming back to this blue one, look at how many signals or how many points there were that were sort of converging, which were giving us an entry for a buy trade. The blue moving average of the cloud, the blue trend line as well, two massive signals, two massive indications, I would say. Then this massive green candle that is also a part of my system that I use. These three massive indications which are a part of my system or the strategy that I use to trade on gold. These three signals alone, not alone, but only these three, because there are three more which we are not considering right now. I shall talk about them briefly in a while. These three signals would have given you a very good buy entry somewhere here. Okay, this was a good decent trade for about maybe 30 plus pips. Okay, and yeah, the other three points that are a part of the system. One of them is when the price is away from the cloud, it gets attracted back to the cloud, which happened here. And point number 5 is the the position of the RSI. If it is above the 50 line, that is much more favorable for a buy trade. If it is below this 50 line, that is much more favorable for a sell trade. And then point number 6 is of course the horizontal levels. Here the horizontal level had been broken, and if we draw a horizontal level considering this tip of the wick, even then you can see that this horizontal level was also pointing to a very good buy setup here. And just the way I said, yes, anything can happen here. This setup, the things that I have talked about, the elements of the system that I use, that I have talked about, this does not mean that there is a 100% guarantee that this is going to happen. No, nothing is 100% in Forex. What we do is we keep in mind the probability factor, and then by keeping in mind that factor, we go ahead and we make investment decisions. And that is exactly you were supposed to do here, because I think 4 or 5 out of 6 factors were favoring a buy idea here. And look at the way the price moved upwards. Now I want to talk about this blue line, and yeah, I think I drew it on the basis of the daily time frame. But if we consider it from here, we know its background. Let me show you. Yeah, this is the reference. This is reference point number 1. This is reference point number 2. Because if we keep this tip of the wick as reference point number 2, the trend line would be somewhere here, and then it becomes irrelevant for us. But if we keep it here, keeping in mind this tip or this peak, then this trend line might be useful for us. And it turned out to be useful for us actually on 2 later occasions, one here and one here. And the way this trend line worked, that is really amazing. Now, as I have explained the reason why I drew that blue trend line, now we can come back to this point, this one. The way the price went up to this blue trend line. Now here I also want to mention that this blue trend line may or may not work. Okay, that is for sure. What we do is, once again, just the way I said, we keep in mind the odds which are in our favor or which are in favor of an idea, a buy trade or a sell trade. That is what I mean by an idea. Okay, and by keeping in mind the factor of probability, we go ahead and we invest. Okay, we decide, we finalize the things on the higher time frame, we go to the lower time frame to execute on the decision that we have made. And that is how we go ahead in this business. And that is where these trend lines, they really do come into play. Now lastly, I also want to talk about this red trend line, this one. Now look at the way the price respected this trend line. Isn't it amazing? By the way, these trend lines, even horizontal levels, they are not absolute. The traders who understand this one point, I am telling you, they make their work much easier, in comparison with those traders who want these horizontal levels, these trend lines, and the rest of the stuff to be absolutely absolute. Nothing is absolute in forex trading. What we do is we establish an opinion which is based on a well-educated, well-informed guess, okay, which means we take into account the historical data, our own experience of the market, our exposure to the market, to the price patterns, etc., and then we make a decision. Then we make up our mind and we go ahead and we invest our money. That is why you need to keep in mind the fact that these trend lines are not absolute, okay? Reference point number 1, reference point number 2, reference point number 3. Once you had drawn this trend line, let's say you did not know anything else about the rest of the chart, but you had this much of the chart in your view. Let's say this much you had in your view, and you had drawn this red trend line very well. You did not have any idea about this blue line. It was not there, okay? Even then, you were really good. You would have been able to make a very good sell entry here on the basis of this trend line. And look at the way the price moved so quickly in favor of a sell trade here. And I think this was easily more than 30 pips, easily more than a 30 pips move. And all this would have been your profit simply on the basis of this one well-drawn, carefully drawn trend line. Yes, these trend lines are broken. Yes, these trend lines are not, they do not offer you a 100% guarantee, but they offer you more chances. You are far more likely to succeed in this business of forex, especially on gold and especially on currencies and other assets as well. Once you know how to draw these trend lines, horizontal levels, how to use the indicator that you have been using, whether it's the Ichimoku Cloud or the RSI or whatever indicator you are using, even if you are not using any indicator whatsoever, even if you are using only these horizontal levels or trend lines, you are good. If you're using them carefully, if you are using them, if you're trading with discipline, you are good really. Because I have seen traders who do not use any indicators whatsoever, but they know how to draw these horizontal levels and trend lines, and then they benefit from them massively. To be honest, I not always, but sometimes I do use only and only horizontal levels and trend lines, and then on the basis of these two very strong tools, I do trade and I make up my mind. I make my final decisions and I go ahead with my investment decisions, and I benefit from these two tools because they are really massive, and you can also benefit from them. This does not mean you should not use an indicator. Using an indicator or not using an indicator, that is a personal preference. Of course, things vary from trader to trader. It is entirely up to you. But the point is, you must know what you are doing. You must know the market. You must know the price action, the patterns that keep repeating themselves over and over again, and then you can benefit from them. Anyway, right now, just to give the last finishing touch to this video, the price is really in the middle of nowhere, I would say, even though it is testing this trend line from below, and one might expect that the price might get rejected downwards once again, and it is very much possible, and price might actually break out of this trend line, out of the cloud, out of the moving averages, and then it might go up to this point and retest this blue line, which is about 4180 area, and then it may go upwards or come downwards, or it may actually keep coming down from here. Anything can happen, and fingers crossed. Trade safe, trade smart. I hope to see you again soon. Thank you very much.